Virginia is where I grew up. It was my first home, and I'm so excited to be coming back to where it all started as a former Mayfield State School student who used to hang out at the Kenrose Street shops. I used to walk home.
Yep.
Sorry, Mum. I used to detour sometimes on the way home from school. That confession's coming out now a few years later. But yeah, so, it's nice to come back from where it all started. And, you know, I think when I was at Mayfield State School all
Yep.
those years ago, probably would have been hard for me to consider this life that I have now, going to New York in Times Square for a book
Yes.
launch, spending holidays in Hawaii. None of that would have crossed. That wasn't the life that I had. We grew up in very humble beginnings in an
Yep.
old housing commission house,
Yep.
and went, and so from there to here to this life that I'm living now, I'm so grateful. I feel honored to be able to share this story, and I hope that it inspires others to see a life that they can create for themselves as well, in whatever that looks like for them. Know that they've got skills to do more and maybe feeling a little bit stuck, or they just might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with the world right now. And I think with so many competing priorities, it can feel like we're juggling a lot of the time. Those that are parents and professionals in some way, shape, or form, who are just feeling a little bit overwhelmed by life, I'd love you to come down. And that can be women or men. We'd love to see a combination of both of you there, because I don't think it's mutually exclusive to one. But I'd love to see you down there, and I'd love to just open a conversation. And the idea is that we're creating safe spaces for brave and courageous conversations around this idea that it's okay to want, to love what we have and still want more. And how do we get that? Well, of course, you're more than welcome. And I think what we find is that the first step is coming through the door. I know, a number of years ago, the hardest part of going to the gym was walking through the front door. And by the end of the conversation, you might surprise yourself in your willingness to speak up. But if you want to just sit there in the corner and just have your cake and listen and learn, you're welcome to as well. Excellent
Five.
taste tester. And they had all these different designs. And I just wanted the one that had chocolate on it. And I
Yep.
wanted the one that had the most amount of icing on it. That was, they were my favorite cakes. I think the first thing is just come with an open mind. I think we have grown up feeling like if we want our cake and eat it too, that we're asking for too much. We could have both, and what would that look like if we were creating that life? And you mentioned that, Ian helps you out, and I know Kenzie Rose is a really great helper in your household. And I think I
Sometimes.
left, well, kids are helpful in their own ways sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes more helpful than others. But I think, in a harmonious life, this is not about a perfect life. This is about creating a life of harmony, and that, things ebb and flow like the tides, and they go in and out. And when we're creating this idea of having our cake and eating it too, what we're doing is going through, and I'll talk about this on the night, my framework that I use. And what my cake and eating it too might look like differently for me, might look different for you, and might look different for some of the people that come along. And the idea is the framework that I use helps you create a life where you can have your cake and you can eat it too, for whatever that is for you. It's not this preset idea of what this life should look like, right? It's around helping people come up with the truth, their own truth about what that would look like for them, versus maybe what society has told them, or these expectations that they've got. And then how do we, give ourselves permission to lean fully into the life that we want, that allows us to have our cake and eat it too. But what I see right now is people feeling a little bit hopeless. They might feel hopeless about, saving up for a house. They might feel hopeless about, being able to change their job situation. They might feel hopeless about a whole heap of different situations. And, there's a saying that says hope is not a strategy. And that's true, but without hope, there is no strategy. So what I would love people to do is, one, I'd like people to leave feeling hopeful, not hopeless. I would secondly like people to leave feeling like they're not alone, that there's lots of different people and lots of different walks of life. But, they're not the only ones that feel like that sometimes, and that's okay. We're creating an ecosystem of support. And I think thirdly, I would love people to go home and be able to implement the framework that we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about on the night, to start moving that ball forward for them and starting to get that snowball effect, so that they can start to see the possibility of being able to have their cake and eat it too.